You are now entering the missing frame. I just watched The Batman starring Robert Pattinson, directed by Matt Reeves. I've been a big fan of actually both of these people, so seeing a Batman project that's kind of standalone, not necessarily connected to the DCEU, I was excited. Matt Reeves has made incredible films. I enjoyed both of the Planet of the Apes movies that he directed, along with Cloverfield being his first real feature film that had a production budget behind it. We've had so many Bruce Wayne Batman origin stories at this point, we do not need another. I was hoping for a fresh take on the character, kind of like what Joaquin Phoenix gave to the Joker, just something that kind of stood alone in its own place and time. And I'm happy with the end product that we got here. It's much more of a film noir, kind of like a crime drama meets big blockbuster superhero film. Right out of the gate, to the Robert Pattinson naysayers, I really think you'll be eating your words with this one, because his performance here is very gritty. It's dark and a realistic raw take on what Batman in year 2 of doing the job would realistically look like. This isn't a cutesy, wink to the audience, MCU type of film. It's why I don't gravitate towards those. I gravitate towards real-life parallels and gritty issues, and we live in a society. I think there will be a wave of memes like there were with Joker for that aspect of the film, but I really do like what they've given us with this take on what Gotham City has become. It's in shambles, it's falling apart, and the Batman teams up with Commissioner Jim Gordon, and they actually have to play out like they're detectives. Well, one of them actually is a detective, but Batman isn't just a vigilante, just being vengeance. He's also really good at paying attention and solving crimes, and this time he's after the Riddler. I gotta be honest, I'm really impressed with the scale of the film. There were moments where it felt claustrophobic and tense. I think of a scene where the gunfire is the only light in the shot. And then on the other side of that spectrum, there is an incredible car chase sequence featuring Colin Farrell as the Penguin, as Oswald Cobblepot, and I fucking loved every second of it. When they show overhead shots of Gotham and just the destruction that's happening both metaphorically and literally, I just felt like I was there in the moment. Even though this film does have a 3-hour runtime, it easily grips you because of those fascinating visuals and the way that they kind of tell the story, because there's parts of this movie that are very quiet. In many ways, this is not your traditional superhero film, and that's what I hope to see more of if we're going to get stuff from DC and even the MCU in the future. Zoe Kravitz plays Catwoman in the film, and I really loved her portrayal of Selena Kyle, Catwoman, and seeing her relationship with Batman, her not knowing his identity, them being these star-crossed lovers, if you will, knowing that their worlds likely can't stay together, but there is an unspoken bond there, and I really appreciate the way they got that across. Mutual respect is a big thing with the Batman, and I really love the understated edge that at times has explosive aggression to Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Bruce Wayne and the Batman. He can go from being this vengeance-seeking man that is out on the streets prowling at night and helping solve cases, but also more of a frail, reclusive figure that's very opposite of the way he's been portrayed as kind of like a playboy type in other films, even the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, speaking as somebody who takes Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy as the gospel, as the shining example of what a superhero film can and should be, this movie does not top that, nor should it, because it really does do its own thing. It is a departure in many ways, but there are some action set pieces, there is some really compelling dialogue, and I really like the way they fleshed out the characters in this film. They don't have to necessarily say a ton, but they're not spoon-feeding you every morsel of information. Another big thing that stood out to me was the score of the film. I loved how it could just wrap you up and heighten the suspense of some of these sequences, I think with the city flooding, or other fight sequences that are choreographed to music, or even as something as simple as using a Nirvana song, which Matt Reeves was inspired by when writing the script for this film. All in all, The Batman is a really exciting movie. It's a very different one. It's a breath of fresh air. It's something that does feel suspenseful. You're trying to unravel the mystery, and I like the villains that they portrayed here as well. I'm excited for this being a trilogy. I look forward to the HBO Max series about Colin Farrell's take on the Penguin and his rise to power as well. And as far as this movie goes, the report card is in, and I'm giving The Batman an A. I appreciate you watching my review of The Batman. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Hit that like button, and please subscribe to The Missing Frame as we journey towards 10K. Other than that, there's some recent videos on screen, and I'll be back soon.